There's a lot of Trump supporters who believe in some pretty crazy stuff. Now, we saw that during the election, and we're continuing to see it play out now afterwards in order to explain how Hillary Clinton had won the popular vote by a margin that is now around 2.7 million votes. Now, CNN's Allison Camerota was talking to a group of Trump supporters about this and other issues when it got to the point where she just could not take it anymore. Let's take a look at that video.
Voting is a privilege in this country, and you need to be legal, not like California, where 3 million illegals voted.
Let's talk about that.
I'm glad I brought that up, Allison.
Me too, Paula. So where are you getting your information?
From the media. Where else
Which
would we
media?
get? Some of it was CNN, I believe.
CNN said that 3 million people voted
Well,
in
it was coming
California?
all across the media. All across. Well, CNN didn't do it, then they were being smart this time.
Do you think that 3 million illegal people
I
voted?
believe in California that there were illegals that voted.
How many?
I don't. To tell you the truth, nobody really knows that number.
But do you think 3 dozen or do you think 3 million?
I think there was a good amount because the president told people that they could vote, and it happened in Nashua. We caught some people that they went into Nashua and they said, the president said I can vote. I'm here illegally.
Did you hear President Obama say that illegal people could vote?
Yes,
Yes,
I did.
I
heard
heard it this morning, actually.
Yes, I did hear it.
Tell me, where?
You can find it, Google it. You can find it on Facebook.
All right, hold on. I don't want to waste any more time, but anyway, I see where it came from, and it's Fox Business Network deceptively edited a clip of Barack Obama to argue that the president encouraged illegal immigrants to vote when in fact he had said nothing of the sort when you go back to the transcript. You, as you sit here today, think that millions of illegal people voted in this country. You believe that there was widespread voting abuse.
I think there was in some states.
In the millions of people.
California allows it.
They do not allow illegal. You mean voter fraud? California allows.
I believe there is voter fraud in this country.
Oh, I believe there is voter fraud in this country. You can find my sources where I get that from Facebook. I also saw a meme once that said Obama was coming to take your guns and make you get married. And I believe it. It's on the internet. It must be true. That's essentially the argument.
You know, what I liked most about this video is it was really interesting to see someone from CNN pretty much looking at the Frankenstein that they helped create. You know, this is also a reflection of the failure of the corporate media. They have, you know, for so long not done their job at informing. I mean, Harvard conducted that study during the primaries. Where they were like polling people and interviewing people that, you know, only went to a lot of the corporate sources, and they found out that these people knew nothing about what was going on. And they concluded, and they've been doing these analyses every election year, that this was some of the worst coverage from the media during an election cycle, maybe ever. When you have the bar set so low, people are more susceptible to fake news. And when you have a new commander-in-chief who is a grossly unqualified reality television star that parrots any propaganda that he likes, people are going to follow suit. And why did this correspondent not actually tell them where they got that from? You got that from Donald Trump. Where did he get it from? Alex Jones, a right-wing propagandist that has been unmasked many times. And they said, who knows? I mean, Alex Jones, they believe that the government controls the weather. They believe, I mean, when they said 2.5 million illegals, which is the term they use, voted, they may have been referring to aliens at Area 51 for all we know. They might not have even meant undocumented workers. It's just a total farce based on absolutely nothing, and these people are now parroting it, and that's why when that person said, I don't want to waste any more time, this entire segment that they did was a waste of time. You're talking to a handful of Trump supporters that parrot this nonsense, this total unfounded propaganda, and guess what? You failing at your job, corporate media, is a big part of why this happens so commonly now.
Yeah, like that's essentially the argument. Corporate media has absolutely failed. I mean, look, in my opinion, they should have fought Donald Trump from day one. They didn't do that. Why? Well, we know from WikiLeaks that the corporate media worked hand in hand with the Clinton campaign in order to elevate Donald Trump. They elevated him. They did not challenge him. They gave him free media, $2 to $3 billion of free media coverage during the primaries, because the Clinton camp believed that, oh no, people aren't stupid enough to buy this stuff. No, he could never win. No, if we call him bad names, then that's how we'll win. We'll play identity politics. That's how we'll win. Well, obviously, that's not what happened. And now CNN, as you said, they have to sit there and look at the Frankenstein, the monster that they have created in these people that are obviously horrifically misinformed by fake news and bullshit and memes that, look, corporate media did not challenge. Instead, they give this false equivalent. Democrats say this, Republicans say that. I don't know. You decide. No, do your job. Tell the fucking truth. And now it's too late. She did an on-air fact check and said, "Oh, it's actually a deceptive video from CNBC or Fox Business. Business. Not CNBC, Fox Business, which edited this video to make Obama seem like he was telling undocumented immigrants to vote." That's the most fact checking I believe I have seen CNN do, and that's sad.
Right, and I'm not saying, to be kind of diplomatic or fair or whatever.
I'm not diplomatic.
Just the corporate media. I'm not saying it's just their fault, but they have the most resources. They are at the top. The Titanic is sinking, and I think that's a good thing. But right now, they're still the big man on campus. And when you throw journalistic integrity out the window first thing, as they've been doing for years. And again, this isn't everyone in the corporate media. There's a lot of great people in the corporate media too. It's more a critique of the structure as a whole. That trickles down, that trickles down. And then you see this widespread of fake news. You see this people clinging to these fringe narratives. And now you have a figurehead that's in favor of that stuff and parrots that stuff and puts, Breitbart.com people in his cabinet. I mean, it's just, this is a reality now. This is the reality. But, for those of us that have for years been saying we've got a big problem here and it's time to take this problem seriously, people have been talking about media reform since the 80s. It's finally come to a head. That CNN correspondent was looking at the Frankenstein that they helped create,
and I don't think that she understands that. I really don't. I think that she looks at those and goes, "What? How did this happen? I don't get it." I mean, Jeff Zucker and all the other media figureheads, they're standing around looking like, "How did this happen? What happened to these people?" What happened. You didn't address the issues. You didn't address the facts. You didn't correct people because you're too afraid of of being accused of being liberal media, which
or
is
having
laughable.
access. Whenever Jeff Zucker talks about the future of CNN, about the future of what they do, all he ever talks about is his obligation to the advertisers and his obligation to the shareholders. When that's your first priority, your content's going to suffer. You're not going to tell the truth. You're not going to do your job. They don't do their job.
And don't forget.
They simply don't.
And don't forget, too, Leslie Moonves, CEO of, CBS? He said, look, Trump might not be good for America, but it's damn good for my ratings. Because that's all they care about because they're a business. All business cares about is business, is making money. That's not a bad thing, but when it comes to informing the public with actual facts and doing a service as what the news was supposed to be, journalism, there's a reason it's protected by the Constitution, the freedom of the press, because it's supposed to make an informed populace, not make money. And that's the whole problem here, is that with Donald Trump, They made so much money off his celebrity and off the crazy things he says and the access they got to him. Remember, MSNBC, Trump used to call into Morning Joe all the fucking time. He'd call into Fox News all the time. He'd call into everybody who would have him and come to and see to everyone who was nice to him and blacklist people who were not. So to get that access, you had to suck up to Donald Trump, which means you couldn't tell the truth about him or the stuff that he believes.
Yeah,
and that's where we failed.
Here, at the end of the day, the media structure that we have, a for-profit corporate media structure, having that media structure and wanting to have a democratic society, that's like wanting to have a gourmet restaurant and cooking exclusively with Spam. Not necessarily going to work. Going to be pretty difficult. We don't have a healthy media structure for democracy at all.
And that's the unfortunate truth about this whole thing. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.